Greetings to all parents. Indeed, how beautiful these children were in their entire presentation. Believe it or not, some people verbally abuse to those whom they consider smaller in their eyes. That itself explains the overall mindset of a person who abuses others in any form, be it physical or verbal. It would be completely wrong if I only blame children for being indisciplined in the class. Usage of a verbal abuse is not from small to big. It's actually from big to small. Sadly, these children learns from adults, grown-up people. It depends entirely in the hands of the older generation what knowledge to impart. Now, dear parents, many deadly viruses have been identified and vaccines are developed to fight such causes of death. In my opinion, a virus called physical or verbal abuse is amongst us, where many have been infected and infecting the rest. So, without any further delay, let us bring in initiatives to instill and encourage discipline among all. Let us get vaccinated with a vaccine called discipline. So, dear parents, in this regard, we have made a new rules and regulations to implement in our school from now on. So, as you can see, this is a notice for the same. Initiatives to instill, encourage discipline among all. First, introduction of behavior observation chart and reverse rating scale. That means a chart will be pasted in each and every classrooms where a teacher would rate the students on the reverse scale of 1 to 5, where a higher score would mean worst behavior, lack of discipline, and vice versa. A teacher would also maintain a separate logbook as and when a teacher rates in the chart which is pasted in the classroom, same would also be maintained in their personal logbook. The same would be made available to the parents on request. Now let us know in detail how this ratings will take place. So here in Appendix A, reverse rating scale for behavior observation chart 2022-23. As you can see this chart on the left hand side, we have mentioned some aspects like discipline, self-control, courteousness, respect for others, property, regularity and punctuality, neatness. So when you will see this chart, you have to see from top to bottom. As I said, it would be a reverse rating. That means if a child gets 5, in what aspects it was given? Maybe lack of discipline, indiscipline in the classroom, corridors, staircase, mostly misbehaves, fight, bullies in the break or playground, maybe aggressive and impolite, doesn't follow rules and regulations, is not sensitive about other property, often litters her surroundings, kind of. So we must understand that a child should not get 5 or 4 or 3. One should target to get 1 or sometimes 2. Dear parents, in the progress report, you have seen discipline section. From now on, this discipline section will be reflected based on the ratings that a child has acquired. Finally, a character certificate will be issued to the graduating students on successful completion of their schooling at Erudite. This will be issued based on the cumulative anecdotal records of their behavioral traits or scores and progress shown. This time, we are going to facilitate children who will have a good disciplined record in our annual function celebration that we conduct every year. Even if a student has scored poor marks in the behavioral chart but then has shown corrections, has improved, will be honored for their improvement in the annual function. Now, dear parents, this is not only for the students. We are going to follow a non-tolerance policy against physical or verbal abuse either by students, teachers, or staff. If anyone is found guilty, be it a student, teacher, or any staff of the school, will be liable for the following punishments. As you can see, first, instance of abuse, a warning letter to the student's parent, teacher, or staff. Second, instance of abuse, a so-called letter to the student's parent, teacher, staff, justifying such an act and a fine of rupees 500 or both. Third instance of abuse, a one-day suspension letter to the parent, teacher, staff and a fine of rupees 1000 or both. Fourth instance of abuse, 1 week suspension letter to the parent, teacher, staff and a fine of rupees 5000 or both. Fifth instance of abuse, issuance of TC to the student, termination of the staff with a letter to the inspector of school. Now, dear all, in the appendix B, based on CBSE on physical and verbal abuse, in their circular number 24, ragging or abuse is certainly not entertained. And in point number B, CBSE on punishment. So based on the gravity of the action, CBSE has clearly given its way of punishment. So we as Erudite Academy affiliated to CBSE is going to follow these rules and regulations very strictly from now on. So I urge and plead to each and every member of the Erudite to take this very carefully. So that's all, dear parents. Thank you so much.